You know, it's late, so I ain't gonna keep you long. But I just want to send this message to whoever it applies to. Stop trying to co-parent with somebody who's trying to counter-parent against you. It is hurting you. It is compromising your peace. It is compromising your sanity. It's not doing your child or your children any favors whenever you try to be the bigger person with somebody who's comfortable being small. And I know it's counterintuitive because you treat people how you want them to treat you, right? But what happens whenever you see the end result, the outcome, hurting your child, deteriorating you, not even allowing you to be the parent that you want to be? Now, I'm a man saying this, but most of the times, let's just keep it all the way real. It's women in this situation. It's women who are the primary parents. It's women who don't have the choice to leave if they just don't feel like being a parent, if they get overwhelmed or it's not convenient to their lifestyle. It's women who this applies to. So let's just keep it all the way real. I'm talking to women when I say this. Stop trying to counter-parent or co-parent with somebody who is counter-parenting everything they can to disrupt you, anything that they can to cause a war. Every text message feels like a setup, like a game to play. Like, it's not doing anything for you. Again, I don't know who this is for. I don't know who this is for. But if you've been trying to be the bigger person, you've been following the court orders, I know this ain't for everybody because everybody ain't got kids. Everybody ain't got a toxic co-parent. Everybody ain't never been there. But if you ever been there before, and maybe you're there right now, stop trying to work with and reason with the unreasonable. It ain't doing nothing for you. Matter of fact, if you're watching this and you're new here, my name is Derrick Jaxn. I help women take their power back. And I also help women who are protective parents outsmart their high conflict ex without making their children pay the price and while keeping their sanity intact. So if you want my help with that, if you want my system to outsmart your high conflict co-parent, comment the word protect and I got you. And I'm going to send it to you to try out for free. The results are incredible. And the results are on that page. Whenever you comment the word protect, Chrissy, you said you've been no contact for 2 years. Good for you. And you see, it's not that simple. I get it, because this is what I get a lot of times from my students. It's not that simple, D. We got children. I can't just go no contact. We got babies. We still got to work together. We still got to parent. There's a way to do everything. And honestly, there's an aspect of it, yes, where you're working together, but you got to take it out of its traditional context. Because if you over there sending text messages about pickup times, but he responding with paragraphs of accusations, or you try to discuss your child's needs, but he turns it into a custody threat, or you following the court orders to the letter, to the T, but he's violating them and then calls you controlling, that's not working together. Here's the truth. A lot of folks are scared to tell. Your lawyer is scared to tell. A lot of these mediators ain't going to tell you. That's not co-parenting. You're damage controlling while he weaponizes your children because that's your soft spot. And you feel accountable to how they're going to see things one day. You feel accountable to how everybody else is going to see things and what you're doing. But no, you can't have a partnership even when it comes to co-parenting with somebody who sees you as the enemy. Stop trying to build bridges with somebody who's planting bombs. You worried about hurting your children. It's going to hurt them more if you continue to deteriorate yourself trying to co-parent. And it don't mean that you failing at co-parenting. It don't mean that you failing co-parenting. You trying to play doubles in tennis with somebody who's lobbing grenades. Ditch the traditional advice. Ditch the traditional advice and communicate better. You can't communicate with somebody who speaks fluent manipulation. Again, I know this ain't for everybody, but especially to the parents out there, the protective parents out there, and you got a high conflict ex, a high conflict co-parent. Maybe you and they might not even be an ex. Every conversation becomes ammunition for their next attack. Every attempt at healthy dialogue that you make is going to get twisted into some type of ammunition against you. You can text that man, hey, I just want to discuss our baby's struggles in math. He going to screenshot it and tell his lawyer you're harassing him about parenting decisions. You cannot co-parent with that man. He doesn't care for his son, even when he was around. Oh, I'm already knowing. And again, traditional advice would tell you to be the bigger person, but being bigger just gives him a bigger target. Think about it. Think about whenever you've been the bigger person. You taking that high road, but that high road becomes his highway to hurt you even more. You taking a high road while he's playing in the gutter, and it just leaves you exposed. So you try to hold, I'm not going to respond to the inflammatory emails. He's going to say, well, you refusing to communicate. You stay calm during y'all's exchanges. He's going to try to convince the kids you don't even care enough to fight for them. Your maturity is going to be used as evidence of your coldness, of your callousness. Your restraint is going to become his permission. Being the bigger person with a narc just means being the bigger victim. I'm sorry. I know some people don't want to hear the truth. I know that's going to go against conventional wisdom, but if you ever been there, do you know what I'm talking about? Everybody going to tell you to put the kids first while he's hurting you first and uses the kids to do it. Of course you want to put the children first, but not in the way that you're doing it. Not in the way that leaves you so vulnerable always. Don't do it in that way, because he don't care nothing about the children's best interest if it ain't going to hurt your best interest. And essentially what happens is your babies, they become bullets in his emotional warfare. I don't know who I'm talking to. Some of y'all don't want to admit, this applies to you when I get it, because he might be watching and blah, blah, blah. This is why you need to get into a community of people who understand you. You need to get into a private community. You need to find your tribe, because there are women just like you who are no longer going for their toxic ex emotionally hijacking them. Again, that's what I help with. Comment the word protect if you want my help on that. I'm literally willing to give you the system so you can outsmart your high conflict ex without making your children pay the price and while keeping your sanity intact. He's going to play them little games. He going to keep them up on school nights during his time that, make your mornings hell with them. He going to feed them all kind of junk and sugar before you drop them off. So they're wired at your house, maybe even sick at your house. But then he's going to tell them, mommy doesn't want you to have fun whenever you have some type of structure, some type of discipline. Some of y'all understand what I'm saying. Whenever you trying to enforce bedtime and you trying to get them on track, feed them healthy foods, not let them overindulge in sweets all the time. He's going to use that as a way to say, you know what? Your mother doesn't love you as much as I do. She don't care about you as much as I do. And I understand the courts ain't going to help. The courts think 50-50 is best in a lot of states, not in all states. There are still states that default to the woman being the primary parent. There are. But you'll see a lot of times, especially nowadays, the courts are pushing for 50-50, which is great if he's great. If your co-parent is healthy, mature, he actually puts the children first, I even think 50-50 is best. The courts don't care whether or not he's healthy or not. And if we're being all the way real, 50% exposure to toxicity is still 100% damaging. The courts don't care though. I don't care. Like they can't do nothing to me. Now, this isn't legal advice. I got to say that disclaimer. This isn't legal advice, but damn that. The courts don't care. They do not care. And everybody going to tell you to document it and all that kind of stuff, man. Look, you cannot go with traditional advice. It assumes you're dealing with somebody who is reasonable. And if you're not dealing with somebody who is reasonable, but maybe they're not an outright abuser in terms of what they're doing that can leave physical, visible scars, you can't go with traditional advice. Even if you wanted to do 50-50 and have equal time. Equal time doesn't mean equal parenting when one of the parents is destructive. I'm all for a man's rights if he's being a man, if he's being a good man, a decent man. I'm all for it. I'm all for a good father having equal time. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. But at some point, we got to speak to the toxic ones, not the ones who are absentee. That ain't even the worst. You know, it was a time where I thought that was a worst case situation. But I've seen some women going through stuff and they wish that man was absentee. They wish they was just a single mom. I'm talking about with no help, no involvement, no presence from the toxic high conflict ex. That ain't even the worst one. It's the one that sticks around to try to destroy you every chance that he gets. No matter how much you document. You document everything, he don't document nothing. So yet somehow both of y'all are seen as being equally difficult. Both of y'all got to wear the weight of his toxicity. So understand, you know, you trying to parallel parent with his perpendicular reality. Just simply disengaging is not always going to work when he's actively engaging in emotional warfare with you. It's easy to say don't care if you ain't got kids that's wrapped up in this. If you ain't got kids that's caught in the middle. If you ain't got kids that's believing some of those things. If you ain't got kids that's coming over being a vessel for his toxicity. If you ain't got kids that are showing visible signs to you as a mom with your intuition that they're affected by what is going on in the other house. If you ain't got kids that's coming home to you scared to speak on what they're going through at the other house. It's easy to say, just rise above it. Just don't even trip. Just don't even bother with him. Oh, it's easy to say that when you ain't got kids that's affected. Your children need one sane parent more than they need two parents when one of them is toxic and hell-bent on destroying the other. Your kids, I'm saying this as a product of a single mother home where my dad was nowhere around and would have been great to have had a dad. I'm saying this as a man who has children of my own. If he is destroying your mental health, he is not good for any of y'all. If he is actively destroying, it's one thing if he didn't show up in a relationship. Yes, there are ways you just need to detach and let that go. But if he is constantly, ongoingly trying to destroy you by way of those children, he is not good to be in any of y'all's lives. He's not. He's one stable home that the child does have, and that's all they have, beats two whenever one of them is a war zone. We love to push for two parents. We have to start pushing for two reasonable, fair, healthy, accountable parents. We can't just say, well, they're supposed to have two. And a lot of y'all are dealing with the shame and the guilt and people trying to judge you. If you create distance from that man to protect your mental health, I'm here to tell you, do exactly that. Do exactly that. When you're told co-parent peacefully, communicate better, be the bigger person, think of the children, but you dealing with the psychological terrorist who uses your children as weapons while the system calls it just different parenting styles. You can't have everything your way. To the protective parents, you're not crazy for seeing what people on the outside refuse to acknowledge, or maybe they just have no idea of. You're not the problem for documenting the problem. You're not being high conflict for protecting your children from conflict. The system failing you doesn't mean you're failing your children. It doesn't mean you have to live in fear of failing your children. But traditional co-parenting advice is like bringing a recipe book to a war zone. You need strategies, not suggestions. You need tactics, not better ways to talk. You need to protect your children while protecting yourself from a system that misunderstands both threats. I know everybody ain't going to resonate with this, and that's fine. This one right here ain't for the popularity or go viral. This ain't going to go viral, and that's fine. But to the person that needs to hear this, there is a way for outmaneuvering your high conflict ex while keeping your children safe and your sanity intact. You don't have to live like this. You don't have to settle for this. You don't have to be the one constantly receiving all of this toxicity, constantly trying to find ways to just endure and survive. You don't. Again, if you want my help, if you want my system that I've already taught to 700 plus women who have high conflict exes that are now setting those boundaries and able to enforce them without hurting the children, if you want my help, comment the word protect and I'm going to send it to you. You can try it out today for free. It's the only proven system I've seen that's truly protected the protector, the real protector. The non-toxic one. Comment the word protect and I got you. But moral of the story is this. Again, like I said before, man, stop trying to co-parent with somebody who's counter-parenting against you every opportunity that they get. You can't negotiate with a terrorist. You cannot reason with the unreasonable. Traditional advice assumes there are two reasonable people. But you are dealing with somebody who is a psychological warfare expert while you keep trying to be reasonable. So stop feeling guilty for failing at an impossible task and start protecting yourself and your children with strategies that match your reality, not the outdated system's fantasy. If you agree, find a little share button down here and share this message for somebody else who needs to hear this. And yes, again, I am willing to let you try my system that I've already taught to 700 plus women. The reviews, the feedback from those women are on the link. Whenever you comment the word protect, I'll send it to you. But if you want the system, comment the word protect, I'll send it to you. Or click the link that you see pinned down here to get access to it. For those of you in high conflict, co-parenting dynamics, and you are the protective parent, you don't have to continue being his emotional punching bag, all for the sake of loving your babies, protecting your babies. There's a much better way to protect them and you. Those are just my thoughts. I'll holler at y'all later. Y'all be good. You know I'm your internet big bro and I got your back. Peace.